You're listening to Glove Up or Shut Up on the Angry Marks Podcast Network.
You're listening to Glove Up or Shut Up on AngryMarks.com with Peter H. and Stevie J. Find them on Twitter at HardcoreCDN and at AngryMarks. And now, for all the news, reviews, and interviews in mixed martial arts, it's time for Glove Up or Shut Up from AngryMarks.com.
And welcome everybody to another episode of Glove Up or Shut Up right here on AngryMarks.com. My name is Peter H. I'm joined once again by my co-host from Omaha, Nebraska, Stevie J.
And it's International Fight Week. It's a good time to watch a whole lot of fighting.
And I don't know where everyone else is listening to this podcast from, but here in Ottawa, on Canada Day, at its worst, it was 118 degrees Fahrenheit.
I believe that, because it is damn hot in the Midwest.
And I stayed home this past weekend. I sat in front of a fan and watched some Fight Pass and just drank a cold beverage or two and just tried to get past the heat wave. But
Beverage my ass. You had Molson.
Damn right I did Molson. Yeah, it was a good relaxing time after the, it's nice to just relax, put your feet up, and just try to ride out a heat wave. But Stevie, I know tomorrow's a big day for people south of the border, that's for sure.
You mean today, because this show is being released on the 4th of July, so.
Absolutely. By the time you're listening, Stevie will be barbecuing or grilling or both.
Absolutely. Burgers, brats, you name it.
There you go. So we've got Bellator to review. We've got Tough to review. We've got Tape to review. But Stevie, 2018, this is happening. We don't have an official date yet, but this fight has been confirmed. I just don't know which commission's going to approve it.
Probably Nevada, since it's Golden Boy Promotions that's putting on the fight.
Tito Ortiz and Chuck Liddell.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Because they both need the payday.
The only the rumor, I've heard people speculate that Texas could be a possibility. You're right, Nevada makes sense with Golden Boy Promotions, but 48-year-old Chuck Liddell is fighting, 43-year-old Tito Ortiz?
That's probably the reason it would actually get sanctioned, because their relative ages are comparable. If you put a 48-year-old man in there with a 20-year-old man, they'd say no.
The quote that I like to use for this is the reason they don't have a senior circuit in mixed martial arts.
Except we kind of had a senior circuit, because every now and then Bellator will put on a fight like Royce Gracie versus Ken Shamrock.
Yeah, Bellator's done that. I mean, you had the Data 5000 and Kimbo fight. That
wasn't senior circuit. That was just a heavyweight mess. That wasn't a senior circuit fight.
Liddell is one bad concussion away from drinking soup with a straw.
I know that. You know that. Everybody would tell him not to do this, but he has no qualms about it, so unfortunately there's not anything we can do about that, because it's his right to permanently inflict brain damage on himself if he chooses. It's his God-given right to make that choice.
And Remy or not, Tito Ortiz have a cracked skull?
Well, he's had every kind of injury you can name from the neck up. Vertebrae, skull, spine, whatever. He's had them all.
But, I mean, take that aside. The promotion will be awesome. The hype, I don't know if the fight will deliver the hype, but I don't know if this from a TV perspective, if it was a TV vehicle, I could see that. The ratings would be good because people aren't paying for it, they're just watching it on TV.
Yeah, I'd probably do like 5 or 6 million viewers, just people tuning in because they know both the names and they know the history.
But if you charge $50 a pop for SD, not HD, because HD would probably be $20 or $30 more.
You know what? You're shooting too low. This is probably like an $80 to $100 pay-per-view.
Oh my God. Yeah, you're probably right. I don't think that one fight will sell. I mean, it will sell, don't get me wrong. But I think if they want a substantial payday from the buy rate, they're going to have to load this card up and not just have Liddell and Ortiz on top.
Well, good luck with that, because all the good fighters in the world are already signed to major organizations. Bellator, UFC, One Fighting, Legacy, etc., etc.
Maybe the guys from the bare knuckle fighting will heal up in time for this show.
I don't think you want to mix bare knuckle fighting with two 40-something-year-olds fighting and see how that would look in terms of presenting it.
Wow. Time will tell on this one. I'm sure we'll talk more about it in the future. But, Stevie, we got to move on from the age in the cage to probably one of the better Bellator fights, main events I've seen this year.
It was above average. I wouldn't say the best of the year, but it was damn good.
It was better than expected.
I think I expected a good fight all along, because I knew Alejandro Lara had a great personality and was really long and lanky as a striker, and I knew that Alimale was a 10th planet Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt with a great skill set and a record of finishing people, and Lara is double-jointed and was trying very hard not to get finished, and she avoided it and avoided it and avoided it, and finally, in the third round, Alimale trapped her in an armbar for so long that being double-jointed didn't help her.
No, definitely not. But in that third round, Lara came out, it almost like a different game plan. It almost like a different fighter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and
I think she knew she was down 2 rounds at that point.
Yeah, I mean, you have to come out fighting, and Alimale came out and basically flipped the script and got her and won the fight via armbar at 3:55 in the third round.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Alimale was not going to play that stand-up game with her. She was going to get her to the ground and do whatever it took to submit her.
Do you think if she said, okay, let's stand and bang and see what happens, do you think Lara might have won this fight if it was just on the stand-up in the third round?
I'm not so sure I would even say that, because Alimale trains with really good strikers, and if you listen to my interview, she talks about the strength of the striking that she's picked up in training and the fact that she actually enjoys it. So even though she is unquestionably the best in the ground at this weight class, in the women's division anyway, I wouldn't say don't assume she can't stand and bang. It's just you don't want to necessarily test that against somebody who's taller than you and longer than you.
Yeah, the reach makes all the difference.
Mm-hmm.
Now, as far as the co-main event, Ryan Couture and Sadawad, I thought this would go to a second round.
You thought wrong, because Sadawad has a bionic hand, and he clipped Couture with it, but good.
He did break it, didn't he?
I don't think he broke it again.
Oh. Just the way that you've thrown those punches, and remember the 3-minute mark? Was it 3 or 4 minute mark? You knew something was like it was almost like a crescendo, like it was building up to something, you know?
Well,
like
the key to it was that Couture was clearly rocked by one of those shots and started to wobble on his feet.
Yeah.
And so Awad pressed him into the cage and kept pouring it on. And the referee was looking in real close, like, you gotta fight back, you gotta defend yourself. And Couture never fell down, but he wasn't defending himself either.
It's rare that, I've said this before, it's rare that I yell at the TV when watching fights anymore. You get to the point, not saying I'm jaded, but it one of those situations like when I was watching this fight where I was like, do something. Don't just stand, like, do something, anything, try. And it's just like the ref just jumped in. It was like, yeah, well, if you're going to just do that and just lay against the fence, you didn't fall down, but you weren't defending yourself properly. Or
I don't think he could. I think that right hand that Awad hit him with shook him so much that his thoughts were not clear. He was not there mentally to defend himself at all. He was already
short-circuited.
He was out on his feet.
He was short-circuited, you're saying then?
Basically, yes.
Yeah. Well, it's a great win for Awad, and do you give him a title shot? Or at least put him in the conversation after this win?
Well, he certainly asked for it. He
He
said,
definitely did.
Chandler, make up your mind. Primus, get healed up. Who deserves this more than me?
Hard to deny that, that's for sure.
Not when he's on a 4-fight win streak and he got a big finish like that.
Well, nice payday, too.
Oh, yeah.
Valley Letourneau and Christina Williams goes the distance, and Letourneau wins unanimously.
Mm-hmm. And
not a problem here.
I don't have a problem with that either, because I thought that Valerie Letourneau did what she does best. She used her striking technique, and then in the third round, she decided not to take chances and took her down to ice it.
She knew what she was doing. She didn't lose her cool. And I don't know if icing is the right word. I think she...
Oh, she was definitely icing it in the third round. She was not taking any chances.
You can still be aggressive and not take chances. You can go for a finish without putting yourself out there.
But in that second round, Christina Williams was hitting her with some pretty good stuff. So
yeah.
I don't think she wanted to risk getting wobbled in the third round.
No, but we've seen icing and then we've seen like lay and pray or, just a boring fight. This third round wasn't boring.
No, it wasn't boring. She was still active on the ground. It's just she knew she could take her to the ground, and she did.
Yeah, she did. Robbie Peralta, how do you want to say this one? Peralta and Archuleta. Boy, this third round starts, and I think I took longer setting up this fight than the third round was.
14 seconds, so you're absolutely right about that. Although, this third round was an accumulation of the first two rounds, because the Spaniard, if this was your first time watching him, you got a show here, because this guy is unorthodox, flashy, and explosive, and he loves to feint with his hands and then throw a jumping knee and catch it right in the head. He's really good at faking out his opponents and then cracking them with a perfect shot.
I'll admit the jumping knee is a move I use with regularity when I fight the UFC video game. Because if you time it just right, it's perfect, and it's almost like you're playing a game. Because when he throws it, it hits the mark.
Mm-hmm. And speaking of hitting the mark, that overhand right that he threw, that he hit Robbie Peralta with, was just perfect, because he dipped way, way low into his stance and made Peralta think that he was going for a takedown or going for something around the waist.
I thought he was going for a takedown.
Exactly. And then he just throws the right way, way up in the air and catches him clean on the chin. It was beautiful.
Good night, Irene.
Oh, yeah.
Now, was this more devastating than the prelim with Andy Murad and Ed Ruth?
Well, that's a debatable point, because what happened in that fight was an accumulation of massive damage very late in the second round, where Andy Murad got multiple warnings to fight back, and he couldn't defend himself any longer, so right, and I mean literally right before the bell, the ref waved it off. It was so close they were debating it on commentary, and finally Goldberg was just like, you know what? There's no such thing as a score in the timekeeper with the referee. He's got to stop it whether he thinks it's 5 seconds away or 1 second away or 5 minutes away. He's got to stop it when he's got to stop it.
Do you think this should have gone to another round?
No, definitely not. There was no question that Ed Ruth had put a severe beating on Andy Murad at that point. It was the right call.
Well, looking at the other prelims here, we have a couple of decisions. We have two rear naked chokes and a triangle choke. Another unanimous decision. Did they show the Fortune surround fight? I didn't see it.
Yeah, I think I saw that one. Let me check my results real quick.
That was Fortune beating Surround via TKO in the second round at 4:35.
All right, you're not giving me enough time to pull it up here, so
as he's looking it up, I will say that there was one fight here. Joey Davis, unanimous decision, 30-26 across the board.
Right. Okay, I've got the Fortune fight now.
Okay.
Let's see. Saran fights out of Palmdale. Fortune fights out of Tempe. Our referee is Frank Trigg. 10-8 blowout round for Fortune in the first round. Round 2. Fortune admitted he spent a lot of gas trying to finish Saran between rounds. They tap gloves. Fortune takes him down 23 seconds in. Trigg barks work to a finish as Fortune rides Saran's back. Saran gets up, momentarily has a weak guillotine. Fortune pops right out. Fortune scores another takedown. Trigg tells him to get busier. Fortune gets one hook in and throws unchecked lefts to Saran's head from behind. Saran is warned to move, and he doesn't. Trigg stops the fight. So yes, they did air it.
No controversy on that stoppage either, I would imagine.
No, not...
Someone like Frank Trigg, he'd know.
Yeah, absolutely. I trust Frank Trigg in there. He knows when somebody's taking too much of a beating because he's taken a few.
Oh yeah, we could go on. We can go on and on about the beatings he's taken.
Mm-hmm. That's a tough son of a bitch, though.
I wouldn't want to fight him.
No, I wouldn't either.
Jeez, I like to live. Let's move on to the tough finale, tough 27.
Mm-hmm.
27 finale. We got Brad Tavares and Israeli Adesanya. Adesanya is 13-0, so that's impressive. And Tavares would be a great notch on his belt if he wins. But Tavares is no pushover. We all know that. So, Stevie, do you go with the undefeated or do you go with the veteran here?
I'm going to go with looking at the line on 5 Dimes and give you a better idea of what the odds makers think about this fight. How about that?
Well, I'm looking at Tavares' record. I'm looking at Israel. Oh, man. I kind of want to see Tavares win, but...
Well, it's super close if that helps.
Yeah.
Adesanya is minus 130 and Tavares is plus 110.
I was going to say it's a coin flip for me. I mean, put a gun to my head. It's one guy's going to win 6 and one guy's going to win 4. I don't think Tavares wins this fight. I don't mean that to say he's slowing down or anything. I'm just saying I don't think it's going to be a hell of a fight. It's probably going to be 2 rounds to 1, but
well, you do realize that's a huge feather in the cap of Adesanya because he'd be knocking off the number 8 guy in the division, and he's not ranked.
Well, you put him. Is this your MMA math where you
no,
where he automatically takes number 8?
No, I'm saying he beats number 8. He is number 8. There's no math to it.
How far does he drop?
How far does Tavares drop? Probably 4 or 5 spots if he loses to Adesanya.
Well, that'd be interesting if he drops into under. If he goes lower than 12.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he'd be down there by Elias Teodoro and Christoph Joko.
Ooh, Tavares Joko.
Mm-hmm.
That could be fun. As far as the finale, we've got Trezano and Giannetti as the announced lightweight tournament final.
I have not watched this season. I do not know anything about them.
We won't know the featherweight until the next episode. Brad Katona's already punched his ticket. We're waiting for his opponent.
Yep.
As far as other fights are announced, Martin Bravo and Alex Bruce Leroy Caceres.
The line on that, we have plus 120 for Bravo, minus 140 for Caceres.
I'm going to say Bravo.
You did see his last fight, though, right?
Yes.
He got killed with a knee in just 26 seconds.
So it's more of a, proving ground fight, or not a house money per se. I don't think that's a house money fight. I think it's, you got rocked, kid. Let's see what you do next.
You know what? I'm going to go with I don't want to call it an upset, because I know technically it might be based on the line, but looking at the fact that that was the first loss ever for Bravo, and Caceres has lost 3 of his last 4, I feel like Bravo's got a little more going for him right now, especially when you consider that Caceres' overall record is 13-11. That's just barely above the Mendoza line.
Yeah, when we use the Mendoza line reference in MMA, it's not good.
No.
There's some decent fights, though, and we're not talking about the pay-per-view yet. We're still on the tough card.
Yeah, we got Modafferi and Honchak. That's a hell of a fight.
Yeah, Modafferi, I'm going to pick to win, but I just don't know how yet.
Honchak is a pretty sizable favorite based on some of the other fights we've talked about. I mean, I know minus 185 isn't huge, but compared to these other two, yeah, it is.
185 is a heavy favorite. That tells you some of these fights, how they're really booking them. Obviously, the experience factor is why I'm going with Roxanne here.
Yeah, the Happy Warrior has been doing this forever and ever. Which might also be part of the reason she's the dog in this fight.
You think she's done it for this?
It's debatable how much longer I would continue to do this in her position, but on the other hand, she has won 4 out of her last 6, so it's hard to tell her to quit.
Alessio de Chirico against Julian Marquez?
Yeah, and the line on that is also close. Minus 165 Marquez, plus 145 to Jericho.
That one's a coin flip for me.
Montana De La Rosa is not a coin flip. That's minus 175, and Rachel Ostovich is plus 155.
Really? Plus 155?
Yeah, she is the dog.
Okay. Well, I'll get De La Rosa.
Pena and Smullen is the longest line I've seen on this whole card.
Which one?
Luis Pena minus 345, Richie Smullen plus 285, and a 3-round lightweight fight.
Yeah, but I mean, you look at some of these fights, and then you have this fight here, where their combined fight total is a single digit still. Like, it's some young guns here. There's some other good fights on the prelims here as well, but we should move on, because we got a lot to talk about here with UFC 226, Stipe Miocic and Daniel Cormier for the heavyweight title, and Stevie.
The hot rumor is that Cormier will retire if he loses.
Whoa.
You hadn't heard that.
If that's the case, you retire as light heavyweight champ after unsuccessfully challenging for the belt above you?
Well, look at it from his perspective. The only fight people seem to want to see that they keep talking about is him and John Jones, and John Jones probably isn't going to be back for 2 to 4 years. So, at his age, and I don't mean that disrespectfully, because he is a champion and he is way tougher as a man than I will ever be, but at his age, what does he have left to prove at 39 years old? Why is he going to wait around till he's 43 to face John Jones?
Well, I know that, John, we've talked about this fight before, and you say it's not going to happen. I'm still holding out for the USADA hearing, but if he retires, if he gets beat here, I mean, you could make the case for a Hall of Fame.
He's already a Hall of Famer. He is right now.
Is he?
Yeah! 21-1? That is an outstanding fucking record. You telling me he's not? And go back to his amateur and collegiate wrestling days and everything he accomplished up until now? You're telling me he's not?
He's just going to be dogged by that John Jones loss.
Well, shit, so is John Jones at this point, because people now believe that John Jones' entire career was tainted.
Well, fool me once, shame on me, but how many times did he fail?
Multiple? Many?
I don't think John Jones' toughest opponent was Daniel Cormier, let's just say that.
John Jones' toughest opponent was a syringe.
Yep. At least it wasn't a blue vial.
No. It's normal.
Oh, jeez, I'm not doing this again. Miocic and Cormier, I don't see this going to the judges. I'll say that right off the top.
The line maker doesn't think so either. Miocic is a 240 favorite.
I hate the fact that, I'm going to word this carefully. I feel bad because what I'm going to say, it sounds worse, but you'll understand why I'm saying it. I feel bad for Miocic just because he'll be known as the guy who knocked out Cormier into retirement. And the guy is 20-1. If he loses, he'll be 20-2. It's almost like And to use the Shawn Michaels Ric Flair analogy, it's like, I'm sorry, boom. And that's it. And that's the last we see at Cormier.
But look at the flip side of this. Miocic is 18-2.
Yeah.
He's in that same territory right now, and winning over such a decorated, historically important figure in the sport elevates Miocic to a new plateau. So don't feel too bad for the man. This is a star-making fight.
If Miocic wins this fight, depending on how much that he'll suffer in this fight.
Peter, hold on.
We're talking...
Peter, stop. Hold on.
Yep.
Get a little closer to your router. You're breaking up really bad.
Okay, hold on. Alright. So, if Miocic wins this fight, I mean, what I'm trying to figure out is, what do you do with Miocic now? I mean, he is a tough son of a bitch, and he's proven time and time again. I'm not sure who you put in front of him next. There's like 3 or 4 different ways you can go, but depending on the damage that Miocic does, depending on the damage that Miocic suffers in this fight, you could see him fight again this year.
I would think so. Maybe late October, early November, or even the December end of the year, New Year's Eve pay-per-view.
Yeah, they always do a bang-up job with the end of the year pay-per-view, so I could totally see that. But if he's in a 5-round war and he gets some type of an injury, maybe we won't see him there.
Well, that's why they fight the fights, as you always like to say.
Absolutely. And we move on from a heavyweight title fight to a fight that, well, it's for a title, but I don't think it's getting as much love as the main event.
No, but it's a hell of a fight. Max Holloway and T-City Brian Ortega. I mean, I shouldn't even have to tell you the line to tell you how good this fight is, but I'll tell you anyway. Right now, Max Holloway is minus 140 and Brian Ortega is plus 120. It's that close.
And I just want to mention that if you, in the EA UFC video, the new one, the UFC 3, if you are in the, you can play for 10 hours for free if you're part of the EA Sports Vault, or EA Access, EA Access.
Mm-hmm.
There's a picture of McGregor, and he's staring at his opponent. All you see is the back of his opponent, and I'm pretty sure that's Holloway. And it had me thinking, fuck, I want to see McGregor and Holloway. Then I'm like, wait, he's fighting Ortega. Oh, never mind. I want to see that fight right now.
Yeah, and you know what? You might end up seeing Ortega and McGregor because this kid is the truth. He's 14-0, won no contest. And the thing that impresses me the most about Ortega is everybody knew he was a submission artist. That was kind of a given. That's how he got the nickname T-City, was his triangle choke. But one of the toughest, most durable, most respected featherweights and lightweights when he was the lightweight champion too, Frankie Edgar, he knocked him out. He knocked out the answer. He is now the question that got answered. He knocked out Frankie Edgar at 4 minutes 44 seconds. How many people can say they've knocked out Frankie Edgar? Not many.
Oh, it's a small list, that's for sure.
I think it's a very small list. In fact, I believe it's his only loss by knockout. He's lost. Yeah, Frankie Edgar's lost 5 decisions, but Brian Ortega is the only guy to knock him out.
Geez, I don't want to see that rematch because I'm afraid the same thing would happen.
I don't know. Frankie Edgar looked a lot better in his return fight when he came back, what was it, like 2 or 3 weeks later?
Something like that.
Yeah, it was a quick turnaround. I remember that part. Anyway, Ortega is the truth, but Max Holloway, the blessed one, he is the truth too. I mean, I just don't know any other way to say it other than the fact that he beat Jose Aldo twice. And Jose Aldo used to be the guy that we talked about like being one of the greatest mixed martial artists of all time. Now, his stock has fallen considerably since those days, but still, he beat Jose Aldo by TKO twice.
Yeah. Not once, twice.
Mm-hmm. So if you don't believe in Max Holloway, you gotta start believing right now.
Do you believe in Francis Ngannou?
It's an interesting question. I like Ngannou. I think he is a pretty good heavyweight. Is he a minus 370 favorite, as the odds makers have him here against Derek Lewis?
It's a little high.
It's a little high, because we know two things about Derek Lewis. One, he hits like a Mack truck. And two, if you take him to the late rounds, he gets really tired. So they must be assuming that this is a 5-round fight, but it's not. It's 3. So I would give Derek Lewis more than a plus 310 chance of landing clean.
He's a big boy, but if he goes in the third round or late in the third round, it's not looking good. He wants to finish this fight and finish this fight early if he's going to win.
Right, but then we've also
seen big boy.
We've seen Francis Ngannou get tired too, so it's not like it's endemic of just one fighter here. They both are not prone to go a long distance, so Ngannou may just get the nod just because we've seen him lift people out of their shoes and socks with an uppercut. But Derek Lewis will put you down and you won't get back up. So this one, I would expect it to be short and violent.
I'm not saying that this fight isn't, this next fight is something, I've already used the word underrated because it's not getting as much pub as I think it should, but
Chiesa and Pettis?
Yeah.
Yeah, that is a damn good fight, and I think the reason people are sleeping on it is because of the fact that Pettis has not had a great track record of late. He's lost 5 of his last 7, but you got to remember this guy is still former UFC champion, so
yeah,
and fought Max Holloway for the interim title. So take nothing away from this guy whatsoever. He's gonna be in the mix for a long time to come, even if he loses this fight. And Chiesa, okay, so he got choked out by Kevin Lee, but as you like to say, Peter, everybody gets caught. So if you look at his record before that, he was the one doing the catching. He caught Beneil Dariush and Jim Miller. So Chiesa, if he gets his arm around your neck, you're going to sleep.
Well, he's skilled. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
And the other thing about Chiesa is and this is not a pun on the fact that I just interviewed Chaz Skelly, but he is a scrapper. Chiesa likes wars. He likes to bang.
Yeah, absolutely. Even Khalil Roundtree and Gakuen Saki, it has potential to be a barn burner.
Mm-hmm. And it's a very close line, too. Plus 115 Roundtree, minus 135 for Saki.
Now, Saki's only 1-1, but that shouldn't deter you from watching this fight.
It really doesn't mean what you think it means, because as a kickboxer, he's got 83 wins and 12 losses. So put aside the fact that he's only 1-1 in MMA and consider his overall experience as a martial artist, and he's got a lot of credentials.
I kind of want to see him kick, I want to see a kick to the head, a kick to the face, kick in the mush.
You got a chance of it, because Khalil Roundtree is another one of those fighters who is very, very scrappy. He's going to go out there and stand and trade, because he has not finished an opponent by submission. All of his wins are either a decision or a knockout.
Going to the prelims, and these are prelim fights. Keep that in mind.
Yeah, okay. I know which ones you're going to talk about right away. Paul Felder and Mike Perry, Rafael Assunção and Rob Font, Curtis Millender and Max Griffin. I mean, these are fights that could be on a main card of a fight night.
Costa and Hall?
Oh, yeah, that too.
Like, we're talking about scary knockout power. Hi, I'm Uriah Hall. I'm over here.
Yeah, I'm Uriah Hall. I get the biggest wins and the biggest losses ever.
Yeah, Jesus, no way underselling his power. It's something you have to be wary of. And Going on the prelims on Fight Pass even, Dan Hooker and Gilbert Burns could surprise people.
I was about to say, you want to talk about power. Dan Hooker, half of his wins come by knockout. And that knee he hit Jim Miller with?
Oh,
whoa,
don't remind me. Yeah.
Yeah, that'll change your life.
Yeah. I'm just waiting for the bus. I'm just waiting for the bus. I'm just going to put my head down for a minute. Like, I'm not here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Hooker is the favorite. Very narrow favorite. Minus 125, plus 105. But
No.
if he hits that knee, it won't be close.
No. Clausen, Venata, and Moyle and Whitmire round out the prelims on Fight Pass. Fight Pass starts at 6:30, sorry, my mistake, 6:30, and of course the main prelims on FS1 started at 8 o'clock. So, I mean, there's some decent, top to bottom, there's some decent fights on this big show in Vegas. I almost shudder to think what tickets will cost. Although I think with a lot of these close lines, Stevie, I think some of the odds might change a few times before the actual weigh, or after the weigh.
Oh yeah, I'm sure by Friday a lot of this will have shifted one way or the other.
I don't know. Speaking of weigh-ins, let's start the news with the UFC sticking with what they have now. They're not going to go back and change the weigh-in system like they did before.
No, it's still going to be early mornings, and if you don't make it, you're screwed.
Well, you're in the wrong weight class if that's the case.
Well, that too.
Like we've had that discussion multiple times, and we'll continue to have that. I just hope everybody on one of the biggest cards of the year, I hope everybody makes weight.
Well, you know what? That's good news for Cormier because he doesn't have to cut the light heavyweight, so he's good.
What do you think he walks around at?
Probably 230.
Really?
Maybe 240.
Okay, well.
Maybe.
It's Cormier.
He used to be a lot rounder than he is now. He's trim compared to his old days.
Yeah, you can say that about a lot of fighters, though.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to the weigh-ins, I'm a little wary because we've had so many problems over the last 18 months.
Yeah, but this is a very, very high-profile card. If you screw up at UFC 226 on International Fight Week, if you shit the bed on that show, you're fucked.
And you're in Vegas. You're not in New York.
You can be called into Dana White's office. You can be summoned to meet Dana White right there on the spot.
No, what I'm saying is I'm not going to take the scale away.
Yeah, that too, I guess.
Speaking of upcoming fights, Brett Johns and Pedro Munoz, 227 in Los Angeles. That should be good.
Mm-hmm. Oh, by the way, you hear the rumor for UFC 228, right?
I did see this. It was it Mark Hunt?
No, that's not the rumor I'm talking about.
Okay, which one?
Dallas, Texas.
It's on the tip of my tongue. I can't think of it. Who?
No, that's where the fight would theoretically be held, is UFC 228.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I was thinking there was something that came out.
Speaking of shitting the bed, hello.
I've had so many. I'm trying to remember if I still have the note I wrote last night about it. No, that's not it. Give me 1 second here, because I did see this. I don't think I got rid of it.
There are 2 fights right now listed for the card. Yair Rodriguez, Zabit Magomed Shapirov, and Jimmy Rivera, John Dodson.
John Dodson, I can see.
Mm-hmm.
No, I lost the note. There was a fight with Mark Hunt in the main event, but I can't remember the fight, to be honest, off the top of my head right now. It looks like we're going to get Fedor and Chael in October. That should be good.
Yeah.
I still don't know who I want to pick on that one. I'm going to save just for a little bit longer before I make my prediction. What do you think of Volkan Ozdemir and Alexander Gustafsson?
That would be an excellent fight.
That's been moved to 227.
Okay.
So that one, I like both fighters. I like both fighters a lot, actually.
Mm-hmm.
is Gustafsson getting up there in age where it's to the point where he's not going to fight John Jones, and if he wins this fight, and if Cormier retires, what do you do with the Mauler?
I feel like you would have to have a match between him and whoever is ranked right below him, and the winner would get the title.
But he has to beat Ozdemir.
Yeah.
Not an easy task.
No, but he's looked really good in consecutive fights now against Jan Blachowicz and Glover Teixeira, so make it 3 in a row and look at his track record as a whole and give him, like I said, whoever's ranked immediately below him, and let's make it happen.
And for those who are wondering, but I thought Ozdemir was fighting Shogun. Well, they moved Ozdemir to fight the Mauler, so Shogun needed an opponent. Guess who they penciled in to fight Shogun Rua?
I believe that is not on the card in front of me, so you'll have to tell me.
Anthony Smith.
Ah.
I don't know about that one. Are we trying to retire Shogun?
Maybe.
Anthony Smith will happily do that.
Yeah.
That's not, I mean, I'm not saying don't give Shogun an easy fight. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just thinking, Anthony Smith, really? Okay. If you want a short fight, I mean, I don't think this is going to the judges, and Smith's got that power that I think is underrated. I did want to mention, I mentioned the video game EA Sports, UFC 3. The reason I was talking about it, I did want to mention this news. I wanted to keep this in my mind. They've added an update. Kimbo, Wanderlei, Matt Serra, Tito Ortiz, and Mirko Krokop.
Nice. Is that a DLC?
I think so, yeah.
Cool.
Now, somebody asked me this, I forget when it was. I think it was over the weekend. Is Uriah Hall back? Because we were talking about the show. And it was a guy at work who's big into the show. With Hall's trip to the hospital, remember that seizure he had?
Mm-hmm.
How do you shake that? Not you know what I mean? Not, but how do you get that out of your mind? You know what I mean? Because you were in a bad place not too long ago.
Yeah, mid-March.
Doesn't that seem like, I don't know, it just seems shorter.
January, sorry, not March.
January?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Further back than I thought. I
checked. It doesn't feel that long ago.
It means that Uriah Hall needs to be smart. He needs to be already on weight at this point. He needs to not be doing a last minute weight cut. Or he's risking it happening again.
And that was a scary weight cut.
Yeah. Those are the kind of things that make us have these conversations on Glove Up or Shut Up, is the fact that fighters are gambling with their health by trying to cut too much weight and their body shuts down. That is not good.
No, if your body is rebelling because you've made that decision, I don't know. It makes me kind of question everything a little bit.
It goes back to what we said about Chuck Liddell, though. It is.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's ultimately not up to me, not up to you. It's up to the fighter. And if the fighter is making bad decisions, then it's up to the athletic commission and the officials at the weigh-in. It needs to be oversight by these committees and the regulatory officials. When fighters are doing things that are too dangerous to themselves, they have to be able to step in and tell them that's not allowed.
Well, this is going to go full circle because we started with the Ortiz and Liddell fight. The difference between Hall and Liddell is that many years difference. Hall's not in his 40s.
No.
But Liddell, and I'll be honest, I really am concerned about his mental health because, I mean, you're almost 50.
Mm-hmm. And it's not like he didn't have a few alarming incidents back when he was in his prime.
Oh, God, no.
There was that famous interview where he later said he was on NyQuil, but, man, watching that interview, it wasn't good.
Yeah, I mean, I hope this fight doesn't happen, I'll be perfectly honest. I really hope something happens, whether it can't get licensed, or someone pulls out, or someone comes to their senses, whatever it is. I just don't think this fight should happen.
I'm not disagreeing with you, but I'm going to say this as clearly and as articulately as I can and try to be fair about the whole thing. There's a certain amount of, how shall we put it, libertarian approach that everybody is taking to this issue, where you should be allowed to do what you want to yourself if you do not harm somebody else. Like, smoke if you want to smoke, drink if you want to drink, fight if you want to fight. So, Chuck Liddell is definitely falling into that, and Tito Ortiz is definitely falling into that. So, the decision then becomes, they're doing it to themselves because it's what they want to do, but do we want them to do it to each other? And that is, again, where regulatory officials and athletic commissions have to step in and make that call, because it's not up to you or I.
You want MMA math? If the combined age of the fighters is over 80, no. Someone's got to step in.
Or if it is, then they need to do more than the minimum mandatory testing. They need to do an MRI, a CAT scan, full blood work, cardiovascular test, everything.
If Tito wins this fight, does he get Ken Shamrock next? Is that where we're going?
No, I don't think there's any point to that, because Shamrock's older than everybody we're talking about.
Yeah, but I mean, if Liddell can fight, why not Shamrock?
Well, we've already seen what happened the last time Shamrock had a fight, so that answers that.
I just hope they don't give Tito a light mic if he wins. If this fight happens.
Actually, the last time he won a fight in Bellator, he had a pretty classy promo, so I wouldn't be too worried.
He might get amped up. Who knows? It's going to be interesting, and this whole weekend is going to be very interesting for various number of reasons. Mm-hmm. And I hope everybody has a great 4th of July. Stevie, what's on tap for Thursday night AMP?
New Japan, and let's see, Ruby Riott got MRI, a sprained MRI, so...
A what?
MRI revealed a sprained MCL.
Oh, no.
So she might be out of action for a while. And we'll talk about
Bray Wyatt.
And we'll talk about Bray Wyatt being in a head-on collision that he pretty much walked away from. I mean, he went to the hospital, but they already released him, so...
Jeez, that's something.
Yeah, guy is double tough and super lucky to boot.
Well, other than that, Stevie, I know, I want to plug something that you've been mentioning on, the daily updates for a while. The, YouTube apocalypse, is that what it's called?
Subpocalypse.
And what's your number right now?
704 subscribers at youtube.com/MMF187. MMF for Mega Man Fan. 187 on an undercover cop.
I think if you get the 1,000, you should get a Mega Man tattoo.
I don't know. Maybe. Maybe if I got to 100,000, then we'd be talking.
Oh, geez. For 100,000, you put that on YouTube. Here's MMF getting a tattoo.
Yeah, for 100,000 subscribers, fuck it. I would get the tattoo live on YouTube.
There you go. Now we're talking, people. Well, for Stevie J, I'm Peter H., the Hardcore Canadian. Thanks for listening. And as I always say, never leave it to the judges. Good night, everybody.
See ya.